Hey lovelies, happy Monday. Hope you've had a lovely weekend. It's been nice to see the sunshine again. We managed to have a nice socially distant barbecue in the garden, so hope you've been up to something nice as well. Trying really hard to get my head around the fact that it is now mid June and that I haven't seen you lot since around about the 10th of March, which is just all manner of crazy. Only 6 weeks maximum now until I'm joined by two little ladies, which is a little bit scary but exciting too. Hopefully you guys are still in school by the time that they arrive so that I can at least maybe Zoom them to you. Other than that, I'll send you email videos and things so you are all a part of it as well because it's important. Miss B on Friday left you with a pretty gross image of some kissing going on in the story, and she left that for you to enjoy over the weekend. I have to say I didn't really appreciate it. I don't know about you, but it wasn't very nice for me. So let's see what happens. We are officially halfway through this book now. Wonder if you've made any predictions yet. You think you've worked anything out? You think you know what's going on? I will let you into a secret. I haven't got a clue. I don't know where this book is going. I'm enjoying it, but I haven't got a clue where or when or what or how or what on earth is going on. I do think there's probably going to be a few twists along the way. So let's get going with Monday's instalment. We are up to chapter 21, which is called Mix and Match. I got back into bed, careful not to wake Kat. I munched on my crisps, letting them soften in my mouth before I bit into them, so as to make less noise. Quietly, I got out the list of theories and the photos. I thought. I bunched up the washing line photos and put them on the desk. Then I went through the others. I finished one packet of crisps and opened a second. Halfway through the packet, I stopped munching and stared. I looked at another shot and stared at that too. Kat! I hissed. Shh! Kat! I shook her shoulder hard. She raised herself from the pillow, holding her head between her hands. Ugh, what a dream! What is it? She blinked up at me from the lilo. The strange man, Kat, I said. The man who sold us the ticket. She shook her head. Yeah, she yawned. That is what it sounded like. What about him? I found him, I squeaked. Kat's eyes went round and she looked confused. So I showed her the photo that I had taken, the one that had gone wrong with the headless bodies. I pointed to a torso of a man with a jacket flapping over a t-shirt. That's him, I said. How do you know? He just looks like someone in a crowd. And anyway, what's he got to do with anything? Maybe nothing, but maybe everything. Kat put her head to one side like I do sometimes because it helps you to think. My theory is it allows blood to pour into the side of the brain you need for whatever bit of thinking it is you have to do. The right-hand side is for logical deduction and analytical thinking, and the left-hand side is for creative thought. And I think it is from this side that inspiration comes from. It was odd the way he came up to us, Kat said. You could say suspicious, or maybe it was just a coincidence. She picked up the picture and looked at it again. Don't say you remember him just from that. You never notice what people wear. No, not from that picture on its own, Kat, but look at this one too. I showed her the photo taken just before by Salem. Salem had snapped one of the eye, but lopped the top part off because he was too close. In the foreground was part of the queue and various bystanders. If you looked really hard at the individual people in it, you could see the head and shoulders of a man facing towards the camera. It was only the size of a pea, but enough of the face was recognisable. That's him, I said. Kat looked hard. You're right there, Ted. It is him. She took the other photo. That's his head. That's his shoulders, and this is his chest and trousers. They match. I got a magnifying glass out of my desk drawer. We looked at the pictures together. It was a game of mix and match, head and tail, fitting together things that belonged, just like a jigsaw. There's something written on his t-shirt, Kat said, peering through the glass. Can't make it out. An O And a T for sure. The rest's blurred. She looked at me. You know, Ted, this might be the breakthrough we've been looking for. She clapped me on the shoulder so hard I coughed. Tomorrow I'm going back to the Photoshop with the negatives. I'm going to ask them to blow up these 2 shots. But Ted, don't say anything to anyone about this. What about Mum? No, she'd only ignore us if we tried to explain. No, I'm following this lead up on my own. Not on your own, Kat. She clapped me on the shoulder again. With you, Ted, of course. We'll figure out what it says on that T-shirt and maybe, just maybe, we'll track him down. I was so excited. I forgot to Ted, can't stand to say it, but you're a genius, mate. Then she grabbed the packet of crisps I'd been eating and scoffed the lot. Chapter 22. Word Game. We slept for what was left of the night. When I woke up, freshening wind had moved in from the west. Light rain pattered on the window. The lilo on the floor was empty. I imagined where the clue of the strange man with the ticket might lead and how it might fit in with the theories left on the list. Depending on how you look at it, I remembered my thoughts from the night before, about how things can go clockwise and anti-clockwise at the same time. There was a tangle in my head. Kat came in, wriggling into her fur-collared coat. It was tight for her. First one arm, then another went up in the air as she squeezed into the sleeves. I'm off, Ted, she whispered, to get the photos blown up before anyone notices. Back in an hour. She put a finger to her lips, picked up the photo packet containing the negatives, and went out of the door, closing it behind her. I looked across at my desk. The photos of the clothes on the washing line were scattered over it, and I could see jumbled images of Dad's tartan shirt pinned up by the shoulders and cuffs, and Mum's black long-sleeve T-shirt upside down, and Kat's school sweatshirt, and my Dad's boxer shorts, and 3 of Mum's bras, and my pyjamas. I put the photos into a tidy pile and lay back on my pillow. The cool air from a front across London fanned my forehead. I imagined the weather satellite picture, a jumble of patchy cloud, looking like the jumble in my brain. That's what I need, I thought. A bird's eye view from a satellite. A geostationary satellite, 36,000 kilometres above the Earth, can beam down images in seconds. It measures the heat of the clouds and the surface temperature of the sea. It tells meteorologists what's happening. And it can help them to understand the approaching weather systems and make predictions. Then I remembered. Even a geostationary satellite can be 2 things at once. Still or moving. It stays in the same place in relation to the Earth's surface, but only because it orbits at the same speed as the Earth's spin, clockwise or anti-clockwise, male or female, half empty or half full, stationary or moving, depending on how you look at it. I groaned and dug my head with its swirling brainwaves under the pillow. Mum and Aunt Gloria's voices called up and down the stairs. There was no sound of Dad's voice. My clock said 9:02, which meant he had gone to work. Then Rashid's voice came up from the kitchen. I smelled toast. There's nothing better than the smell of toast, in my opinion. An hour went by. I got dressed. I put on the shirt I'd worn the day before, and the day before that, but I didn't think Mum would notice. At 10:05, I crept out onto the landing just as Kat's shape appeared through the frosted glass on the front door. It opened slowly. Kat was sneaking in with her key. She saw me at the top of the stairs and put her finger to her mouth again. But Mum must have heard her. She appeared from the kitchen before Kat could get up the stairs. Where have you been, Kat? I didn't say you could wander out when you felt like it. Hi, Kat, I said, did you get it? Kat stared at Mum, then me. My compass, I said. I went downstairs and tapped Mum on the elbow. I think it dropped out of my pocket yesterday. Kat said she'd have a look in the front garden for me. Oh, Mum said. She ruffled my head. I didn't know you'd lost it. Sorry, Kat. I thought you'd run off somewhere. Did you find it? No, Kat said. I hunted around the bushes, but nothing. It was only a cheap one, I said, but good at tracking the wind direction. Maybe, Mum said. When all this is over. She paused and shook her head. If and when this is all over, ever, we'll get you a new one. And something for Kat too, if you both stay quiet and calm while all this... She stopped, shrugged, shook her head, I returned to the kitchen. Kat looked at me and I looked at her. "Go, Ted," she whispered. She punched me in the arm so hard I nearly fell down the stairs. "Never thought I'd see the day. You told a lie." We went upstairs to my room and Kat took out a large envelope she had stuffed up her front. "The man in the shop," she said. "He knows me now. He blew up the pictures for me in less than an hour. Here they are." She ripped the seal and took out 2 large prints. One was of the strange man who'd sold us the ticket. His face was blurred but recognisable, with his stubbly chin, dark eyebrows and high forehead. He squinted into the light. The other was of 3 torsos, but the middle one was his. You could recognise a shabby leather jacket, a hairy neck, a black t-shirt or sweatshirt, and his fingers with a roll-up cigarette in them. The jacket was open and flapping. We could see some of what was written on the shirt in white lettering. ONTLI space ECUR. Doesn't give much away yet. The beginnings and ends of each of the 2 words were cut off by the jacket. "A word game," Kat murmured. She sat at my desk and grabbed a piece of paper. "We have to find out what words have those letters in the middle." She copied out the letters and looked at them. "To the right of the I. Do you see, Ted? There's a downward stroke and then a bit of a diagonal, perhaps an N." I considered the alphabet in capital letters. "Could be an M. Maybe, but somehow I think it's an N." She tapped her pencil. I heard her muttering, "Bont, cont, don't, eont," and so on until she came to zont. And then she threw down the pencil. "Hopeless," she said. "What about the second word?" I said. "Maybe it's reoccurring." I thought of reoccurring because my favourite number is 3.3 reoccurring. I like the way the 0.3s go off into infinity like a chain of gods. Reoccurring. Hey, that would fit. She wrote down the word and muttered it under her breath. She looked at the word in silence. "You know, Ted, I've been having one," she said. "What?" "A recurring nightmare ever since Salem went." "What happens in it?" She shut her eyes. "First, I'm in a morgue, and then there's this boy lying on a slab and I'm too frightened to look at his face, Ted. And then suddenly I'm in a pod on the eye. It's turning fast, faster than it really does. It speeds up and I'm looking out and I can't see anything. It's foggy, a white mist everywhere. Then the eye stops. At the very top, it stops and the glass... What? The glass dissolves, Ted, and I'm falling through the white spokes, like through a cat's cradle. And the fog, I can't see where I'm going to land." Her hand went to her throat. "It's just a dream, Kat," I said. She shook herself. "Yeah, I know." She looked at the letters and sighed. "If it was reoccurring, the ring part would go too far to the right. The G would be under the armpit." She rapped the pencil on her knuckle. "Why do people have words on clothes, Ted?" "Dunno," I said. "It looks funny. People walking around like signposts or billboard adverts. It's not my idea of style, especially these joke t-shirts like 'Fragile goods, handle with care.'" She grinned. "I saw that the other day on a lady with the most enormous..." She cupped her arms in front of her chest. I said. "Telling me. But I don't think this is a joke t-shirt. It's only 2 words." "You get ones with names of universities," I remembered. "So you do. But probably not," she said. "There'd be a crest or something, a design or a motto with the college name." "If it is a college, would it help knowing it?" "How do you mean?" "You can buy those sweatshirts anywhere. You might be anybody. There's this boy in my class. He has a sweatshirt that said Oxford University. But he's too young to go to Oxford, isn't he?" Kat's head went into her hands. She groaned. "This is a waste of time." "On the other hand," I continued, "there's this other boy whose mum picks him up from school and she wears a t-shirt with Gardens for the Disabled on it. The letters circle around in a big daisy and it's the organisation where she works." Kat's head came up. "True," she said. ONTLI ECUR. Is it where he works? Or a club or a society? Something he's part of? Something that just might lead us to him? She looked at the fuzzy torso, the faded white letters. She leaped up like a jack-in-the-box. Security! She yelled. Sorry? The second word, Dumbo. It's security. My head went off to one side. He works in security. Security, I agreed. I was impressed and disappointed at the same time that I hadn't seen the word before Kat. What about the first word? Kat sat down again, frowning in concentration. Ontlai, ontlai, ontlai. She muttered like a mantra. Kat, I said, there's something I don't understand. About photos. Shh, she said and continued the mantra. Why aren't the letters the wrong way round, Kat? Hey? You know, when you take a photo, why don't letters appear back to front like a mirror image? She didn't answer. Ontlai, she went, and then she stopped. What did you say? I said, why aren't the... I stopped. Kat was staring at me, her eyes large and round, her mouth open. Sorry, Kat, I didn't mean to put you off. No, she began. But what she was about to say was cut off by an ear-piercing screech from downstairs. Chapter 23. Catastrophe. The shriek had come from the kitchen. Kat gasped and gripped my arm hard. Then she ran from the room and pounded downstairs. I followed her as fast as I could. I wondered whether somebody had been murdered. It sounded like the kind of scream you got on an old-fashioned TV detective story, when the maid goes in with a tray and finds a dead body and drops the tray and makes an ear-piercing noise. An image of Aunt Gloria finding Salem dead in the cellar went through my head, and a bad feeling went up my esophagus. Kat stopped in the kitchen doorway. I peered over her shoulder to see what was happening beyond. Mum, Aunt Gloria and Rashid were standing at the table, staring at Aunt Gloria's mobile phone. What's happened? Kat said. Nobody replied. It was as if we'd come upon a game of statues. Kat walked over to the table and reached over to pick up the mobile. Don't touch it, Aunt Gloria whispered. Kat's hand paused. Why not? Mum pushed Kat's hand away. Just stay out of this, Kat. Can't you see Glow's upset? Rashid's hand went up, palm outwards. Come. Let's sit down. Calm down, he said. Let's get to the bottom of this. Everyone obeyed except me. There were only 4 chairs. I stood by Mum's shoulder. Gloria, Rashid soothed. He took her hand and stroked it like you would a cat. Tell us what happened, my love. Aunt Gloria swallowed. Well, I've been carrying my mobile with me everywhere, never losing sight of it. It's been by the pillow, in my pocket, in my hand all the time, just in case Salem should call. Then, just now, she wiped a tear off her cheek. For 2 minutes I put it here, on the table, while I went to the living room to call the airline from the landline. I had to call the airline, you see, because by rights, she shook her head and her lips squashed up together, by rights today we should be flying out across the Atlantic, Salem and I. And I rang them to explain why we won't be making the flight. And the lady on the phone was very kind. Her lips went one way, her nose the other, and her eyes disappeared altogether. She was crying. I couldn't see why someone being kind would make Aunt Gloria cry, but it did. She said she'd hold our reservations. That's if Salem is found. They'll put us on the first available flight to New York. So I said thank you, and I hung up. I put the phone back and I came in here, and it was ringing. The mobile. It was on the table, ringing, and nobody was in here, nobody to hear it. I picked it up, answered it, and it rang off. It could have been anyone, Rashid said. Aunt Gloria shook her head. She picked up the phone and showed us its display panel. The name of the last caller was displayed. Any guesses? Salem. He tried to call me. I called back, of course, right away, but nobody picked up. It was switched off again. Nobody. Oh, Salem, you called me and I wasn't there for you. The last 6 words came out in a wail that grew louder until the U. And then she got stuck on the U sound. She cried like a baby that had dropped its bottle. Viking North, Utah South, Utah 40, cyclonic 6 to 8 gale. I chanted in my head, decreasing 5. Rough, oh very rough. Obviously can't deal with that sort of noise coming from anyone. Oh, Glow, Mum said. She took her by the elbow and they went to stand out in the back garden, and I saw Mum handing Aunt Gloria her packet of cigarettes and her lighter, which was very strange because my mother is a nurse and nurses know all about how smoking is hazardous for human health. Aunt Gloria would have been better off with a cup of tea because in my book of first aid it says a hot drink is good for you if you've had a shock. Rashid slumped at the kitchen table. He put his head in his hands and muttered something about calling in the press. Then he went out into the garden too. Kat looked at me. Ted, she said, this is getting serious. Serious? I agreed. She got up from the table and walked around it 3 times until I felt dizzy. I could see she was thinking. When Kat thinks, she moves about a lot, but when I think, apart from putting my head to one side, I am still. I didn't like the way Kat was thinking. Her ponytail swung from one side to the other, and her lips were pressed up tight, and her mouth was moving, but no sound came out. Suddenly she went into the living room. I followed her. She picked up the A to Z phone book from the shelf and flipped through it with her eyebrows pulled together. Then she turned a page over and nodded. She tore out the page and folded it. Ted, she said, I'm going out this instant, but... You're just going to have to lie again, Ted. Say I've gone round to Tiff's. Tiffany is Kat's best friend at school. But you're not going to Tiffany's, are you? I said. No. She said, Stop twitching your head like that. All you have to say if Mum asks is that I've popped over to Tiff's. Got it? Popped over to Tiff's. For the afternoon. Don't drone it like that. Say it like you mean it, Ted. But I don't mean it, Kat, because it's not true. Kat slapped her forehead. How did I end up with a brother like you? How? You're such a hopeless case. Where are you really going, Kat? If I tell you, you'll tell the others. I won't, Kat. I won't. Not if they don't ask me. But they will ask you. There's no time to lose. I've got to check this thing out for myself. No, I said. No, Kat. She was in the hall putting on her jacket. No, I said. She ran upstairs to fetch her leopard skin backpack. I followed her. She stuffed the blown-up photo of the strange man's blurry face into it, along with the phone book page, and ran downstairs again. No, I said, following. My hand shook itself out. No, Kat. I'll be back as soon as I can. Kat! She opened the front door. Kat! I grabbed the sleeve of her jacket. Take me with you, please. Go off, Ted, she said. She tried to slap my hand away. I grunted. I held on. Let go, Ted. She shoved me back hard enough through the front door. I'm sorry, Ted. You're really good at thinking, but you're no good at doing. If you come with me, you won't be any use. She slammed the door in my face. I saw her silhouette go down the path. I slumped to the hall carpet, and a feeling like molten magma churned in my belly. My foot banged up against the skirting board. My hand shook itself out, and my brain went into a whirling vortex of bad feelings. Catastrophe, catalogue of disasters, Hurricane Katrina, mean, mad, mean, Kat. Ooh, wonder where she's going. Where do you think? Make your predictions now before we hopefully find out tomorrow. Enjoy your evening, guys. I'll see you in a few days' time. Bye.